Allegiance and moment of silence. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, so the first order of business, let the record show that we do have a quorum with all members present. We need to adopt the agenda, and I understand, let's add under information and correspondence, number 10, we'll add board reports. Is there anything else from staff or the board? All right, well, entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Mr. Chairman, I move to adopt our agenda as amended.
Very well, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, we'll open it up for public comment. Is there any public comment? Federico, you got anything up back there? Okay, very well. Hearing none, then we will close the public comment period and do it again at the end of the session. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. We have minutes from the 12th of May and the 19th of May. What's the pleasure of the board for the consent agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve minutes of 5/12/2026 and 5/19/2026.
And I'll second.
All right, very well. We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes under the consent agenda. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. All right, we have a special appearance tonight. We have our new EMS chief with us. So, Mr. Weekly, if you would kick it off.
Yes, please. Chief Helm, if you would please come to the podium, and I'll say a few things before you can give remarks. Members of the board, I want to just recognize again and thank those who participated in the interview panels. There was initially 9 applicants we considered for this position, and then the board held the final rounds to make a determination. So after much deliberation and upon selection, we are now proud to present our next EMS chief who will start their new era. Actually, they started that new era on May 21st was the effective date. So we're very pleased and proud to announce Gavin Helm as our new EMS chief. And we wish him well, and we will stay behind you every step of the way, sir, looking forward to what you'll bring to the agency. Please, any remarks you may have to the board.
Good evening. To the Board of Supervisors, Mr. Chairman, County Administration, I can't fully begin to tell you how thankful I am for the faith that you're putting in me in this new role. I bring a lot of experience to the table. I expect to use every bit of it as I move forward. We've already started getting ready to replace positions that are likely to change coming in July 1. So the deputy chief position was posted today. So I'm looking forward to find out who that might be and my new partner, so to speak. I am proud to say that Madison County EMS is healthy. We're starting with a healthy agency. We've got some agenda items for the next calendar year. Blood programs and some other procedures that we'd like to be able to do, and we're not going to let up on that momentum one bit. I am a very much a servant leader. I don't intend to change as chief. I love the collaboration with our other officers and with our rank and file, and I will absolutely be focusing on what they tell me as well, and balancing that with the fiscal demands and working with all of you. So I'm excited to do that in the future. I consider it a real blessing to be able to work and live in the same community and literally serve your neighbors every day. I take that very seriously. So thank you again. I'm always available if you ever need to talk or have any questions, and go from there.
Well, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So you've been on the job almost 7 days now. How's that working out for you?
Everything's in flame. It's all good. Yeah, really not a lot has changed.
Yeah.
We're still doing the things that we need to do to carry out the mission, and that's taking care of our citizens.
Right. Thank you, Gavin.
Thank you, sir.
All right. So the next order of business, we have 3 public hearings. These proposed ordinance amendments are basically things that we have, as a board, have already decided on what the rates would be and what the planning commission terms would be. But there are areas which are noted here in our ordinances that need to be adjusted to mirror our decisions up here. So the first, what, you got something, Jonathan, you want to?
Oh, no, sir. I was just waiting. If you needed any introduction or background information, I stand ready from a staff standpoint.
What did I miss?
Well, first I wanted to acknowledge, and I was saying this to most of you as before before the meeting was called to order. Initially, there were 4 public hearings. Mr. Wright and I have been in contact with our Commissioner of Revenue, Brian Daniel, specifically about the TOT ordinance amendment. We felt it was appropriate to pull that. Initially, we advertised for Chapter 24, Section 129, which deals specifically with the levy and the rate. Mr. Daniel had some thoughts on Chapter 24, Section 131, and there's a one-pager. Well, I say one-pager, it's front and back. We try to conserve on ink and paper. But that gives a little background. So we'll get into that momentarily when we get, Mr. Chairman, to number 6 on your agenda. I just want to clarify for the general public and members of the board, because initially we were thinking there was 4. We had advertised for 4. You will have 3 tonight, but we will ask for a rescheduling of that. As you said, Mr. Chairman, most of these are administrative, but, well, they're not administrative, excuse me. They need to be ordinance changes because anything with taxation is in the county code. Therefore, like, for example, you increase the food and beverage tax by 1%. We had to go in, even though it's a simple change in the narrative, we had to do that under Section 24-163. And similar when you get to dog tags and planning commission. So that's my comments, sir, around the first, the food and beverage tax, and I'll have further comment as you go through items 3B and 3C for your public hearing. So, Mr. Wright, if I'm correct, they need to be 3 separate public hearings. It's not 1 for 3, or does that matter, sir? I think the intent was 3 separate.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
can,
that's fine.
we can do 3.
It's the safest way.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll start with ordinance number 2026-7 to amend the Madison County Code, Section 24-163, to basically, under levy, it says, to record that's at the tax rate of 5%. What was that, up from 4, as I recall. So, any further discussion from the board before we go to the public?
Just one question, Mr. Chairman. This ordinance change, now, let's hypothetically say we raise the tax again, and would we have to come back and amend this ordinance, or is there some way to put language in here that makes it really dependent on the tax rates that we set?
Mr. Wright will probably have some additional comment. As it was drafted and currently drafted, the answer would be, sir, we would have to come back and to amend the ordinance. As far as a simple way, I'm not sure that. We try to keep that in mind. Again, when we get to the TOT discussion, we'll talk about that as well, because sometimes it can be, a little more complex if you have to keep going in and changing order. The good thing is, because your fiscal responsibility, we don't do this often, but right now, sir, the way it's written, we would have to go in, not only as you set your tax rates for the budget, we would have to go in and amend the ordinance, so county code would be updated.
I'm not trying to slow things down.
No,
Just
no,
curious.
Thought about
That's
that
Mike's
before,
job.
too, so.
In 1 second,
Yeah,
Mr.
sure.
Wright has Kim bringing up a reference.
And
Yeah, that's what we've been doing at Skyline, rewriting stuff, so you don't have to go back.
And Supervisor Jewett, this
Yes,
is
sir.
the way it's currently written,
okay,
and so, I can't tell you the full legislative history of this thing, but because it's got the rate of 4% in there, then that's why we've got this amendment.
okay.
And I don't know if there's any record, or there's definitely record, but historic significance of why it's there. It might be for that purpose. Some of these, you know, again, later when we get to Todd, it's like, well, how definitive do you need to be? Because, well, there may be folks that are in office at a later date in those roles, like commissioner or county commissioner or whatever, that would need to know those specifics.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I think, like what Jim is saying, and we've been doing it at Skyline Cap too. You go through and say, at a tax rate as set by the board, or, you know, going forward, we, you know, any time we get an opportunity to do something like that. But for now, we've advertised it like this, so I guess we'll catch public comment on
Will
this.
you please
Anything
go
else
back
from
to
the board on this one?
packet?
Okay. Any public comment on this one, Federico? All right, very well. We'll close public comment and come back for further discussion or a motion.
And there's an ordinance number, Mr. Chairman, for proper reference.
2026.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve ordinance 2026-7, ordinance to amend Madison County Code Section 24-163.
I'll second.
All right, very well. We have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 2026-7. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, opposed nay. All right, motion carries. Okay, so the next one is ordinance 2026-8, the ordinance to amend Madison County Code Section 6-35 regarding dog tags. You got anything further on that one?
Yes, sir. And I can appreciate, it's not just me. We have a team that constantly scours things. So I believe this was a fee that was adjusted by vote prior to any of us. So it's been assessed. We need to make sure our ordinance matches that. So this is for duplicate dog tags. So if you lose one, there's a replacement. It's set there, you can see in red as $2 versus what it currently states at $1. So we need to, the ordinance needs to
Line 'em
match, right. And this was caught by animal control, so we appreciate their awareness.
All right. Questions from the board on this one? All right, very well. To the public? And no public comments, so we'll close public comment, or public hearing on that, I'm sorry, and come back to the board for further discussion or a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the ordinance to amend the Madison County Code Section 6-35, ordinance number 2026-8.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 2026-8. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, opposed nay. Okay, motion carries. Okay, now the Planning Commission. Mr. Weekly?
Yes, sir. Again, just cleanup items here. So the bylaws were changed a while back for the Planning Commission, and that changed from 2 consecutive terms to 3. Upon staff review of the code, we noticed that that had only two. It did not have the update to match the bylaws. So this is cleaning that up. If you wish for your ordinances to match your bylaws, if not, then you need to go back and change your bylaws. I think the easiest way is just to clean it up, because my understanding, I've been around since that discussion of the consecutive terms, is trying to encourage people to participate. And also, when you have active members, such as we've had on Planning Commission, you want to give an opportunity for them to serve again and not have a rule necessarily roll them off.
All right. Questions from the board on this
Yes, sir.
amendment? Okay, very well. To the public. So no public comment, no public discussion on this, so we'll close the public comment and come back to the board for further discussion or a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the ordinance 2026-9.
All right?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the ordinance 2026-9. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, opposed nay. Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Okay, no old business, new business. Ravenna Rappahannock EMS Council Advisory Committee voting member appointment. Mr. Weekly?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As part of your recent action to appoint a new EMS chief, you may recall when the Thomas Jefferson EMS Council merged with the Northern Virginia Council, there was a council advisory committee appointment. At that time, you appointed former Chief Hillstrom. Now that Mr. Hillstrom has moved on and Chief Helm has been tapped for that role, we would recommend that you now appoint Chief Helm to that advisory role. That would be a current unexpired term that would expire on December 31st, 2029. If you so choose fit to make that appointment, please also mention the unexpired term in the motion, and that's how that position would be filled.
Okay. So we do need a motion from the board to fill this voting member on the EMS Council.
And Mr. Chairman, just point of clarity too, Kim and I had good discussion on this. We went back and looked at the charter as well as the other members on that. The two existing, they're non-voting members, so Kim, thank you. I believe it's, I want to say Mr. Buchanan and Mr. Yao. But even though it says alternate and there's a non-alternate, in the charter, it only speaks of one voting member. So even if the voting member wasn't present, neither of you would be a voting member. And that seems a little weird, but it's all goes back to the details in bylaws or charters, and that's how that charter is written.
Of the council.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you're less value. We appreciate you. I just wanted to clarify that.
I feel better already. Okay.
So if you so choose, Mr. Chairman, a motion to appoint Mr. Helm for the unexpired term, ending on December 31st, 2029.
Yeah, any further questions on this issue from the board? All right, then we will entertain a motion to appoint Chief Helm to the unexpired term of 12/31/2029 to the EMS Council Advisory Committee.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to appoint Chief Helm. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. Do you have further comment, Mr. Weekly?
No, we're admiring pin clicking. Please continue.
All right, so discussion, we got upcoming legislation priorities. We got Mr. Weekly and Vice Chairman Jewett to.
Mr. Weekly, I'll defer to you to lead off.
Thank you, Supervisor Jewett. I'll be brief because Mr. Jewett's done a lot of heavy lifting on this. You may recall part of your legislative priorities for 2026. One of the things that the board pushed back on was collective bargaining agreement. I think that was House Bill 1263, and then there was a Senate bill component of that. That was one of the legislation that was vetoed by the governor. However, and back and forth today, I sent each of you a email with the final report from Mr. James, who is our lobbyist, not only for Madison, but basically Planning District 9. And Laura Bateman, who works with Eldon, had indicated, she had that still in that list because there may be anticipation that could revive itself during the budget negotiations. So we hope that they do not revive that, but there could be possibilities. So Mr. Drew and I spoke, and we thought it was important to put this on the agenda. You may recall in your goals and priorities for FY '27, legislative priorities was part of that, and starting early was the theme that I heard from the Board of Supervisors. So Mr. Jewett chairs the EDC. The Board of Supervisors agreed that the EDC would basically be first and foremost on legislative agenda items. So we'd like to get that started earlier. So, Mr. Jewett?
As Mr. Weekly indicated, this is a compressed schedule to get this done because it really has to be done by the end of August. And we've already started having initial conversations with EMS. I've talked to a few school board members. I'm going to talk to some of the other, I'm going to talk to all the constitutional offices and our departments to see what legislative initiatives they would be interested in. We'll have the upcoming VACO Region 6 and 7 meeting, which is going to be important because I know they're going to talk a lot about what initiatives they're going to be pushing. My guess is that from previous experience, a lot of what they're pushing is what we will be as well. So I'd like to get some more information on that day to find out where their focus is, as well as try to get something together from all our departments. I know it's a little rushed, but that's not our schedule. That's the General Assembly schedule. And I think we discussed having a luncheon possibility with our state senator and our state delegate and possibly our congressional representative, which I think would be appropriate because these issues cut across both state and federal level. And I'm not really sure. I think, have you sent out invitations or have we?
I haven't yet. I wanted you all to talk, sir, at the board level to make sure we're still tracking that, and then I would be happy to set that up. I wasn't sure if it was a certain month, sir, if it was this month or July. I would recommend, if the board is fine with this idea, we would contact them now to try to get on their schedule. Because what we're learning through Ms. Sharman's initiative for the 250th, we reached out to them well in advance, and then trying to get on the calendar is
Very difficult. Well, thinking that we're coming up on June, and we're going to have some flexibility with regard to their schedules. Perhaps we could, and I know this is pushing it, but we could target a tentative date or two tentative dates, 1 or 2 in July and possibly 1 or 2 in early August. I don't want, that way they'll give them time to get back with us and say, okay, we can do these dates or we can't do these dates. And again, I would suggest today, but with their schedules, you just never know.
Yes, sir.
Is that agreeable, folks?
Mm-hmm.
And this is our first time through. After we go through this once, it's going to be a lot easier to repeat the cycle next year. But it is so important because a lot of these things that collective bargaining, let's cross our fingers, a lot of these things did not pass that would adversely impact us and other localities because localities all across the state lobbied the governor and the legislature, said these are bad things. Please do not implement them. And the local voice, one of the things that, I have, and it's been a pleasant surprise, and this is why I like VACO, the localities, if they stick together with a common voice, they actually do have some influence. And since we are the closest to the people and what their needs are, I think it's very appropriate that we take those needs and articulate them to the General Assembly as a collective body. So I'm getting that underway. Jim Smith's working with me, and we're going to try to get this as quickly as we can, at least get some initial initiatives that we would want to present to our legislators. Thank you very much.
Hey, Jim, so what is on the list at this point? Have y'all got a list going?
We're starting the list.
Okay.
number one thing we've already begun is working with EMS to try to get the billing in place legislation. We're underway with that. Of course, they've already done a lot of that, but I'm trying to coordinate with Gavin so that we can get that more effectively presented to our legislators. I know the school system, I'm not really sure what they're looking at. I do know that the 1% sales tax referendum was high on their list this past year. And I believe has that passed through the budget
No,
negotiations?
sir, the rumor mill, you know how they are, that could as well make its way into the budget bill. And while you're speaking of that, sir, if I may interject one key
Sure.
point. The timing that's gonna be important. If that does go in the budget bill and it passes, and this board wants to hold, because it's required to hold a voter referendum.
yeah.
Our cutoff deadline to get on the ballot, and I'm going off memory here, is August 14th. So,
Okay.
we would have a narrow window. Of course, we would work with, Mr. Wright on language, to make sure we get that ballot, language correct, but that's important timeline to track.
One of my personal peeves, and this will probably never go anywhere in 1,000 years, but I've mentioned this, and I'm gonna talk to the other departments. I think it is horribly unfair that the state gives some employees raises and expects localities to give the other folks raises. It's an unfunded mandate. It's unfair to everybody. I wish they would come up with a better formula just to distribute sums of money to localities for bonuses. They really put localities in a bind every year. So, and as I said, they're probably nowhere, but it's worth bringing up.
And I believe, Mr. Were we looking at fiscal impact fees? I think that was.
That's
one.
another big one we're continuing over with Delegate Hamilton, and this is, I think, gonna be one of the priorities with VACO this year, because it got on their radar last year with Delegate Hamilton and Mr. Smith and I, is looking at lobbying for a change in the code to allow localities to impose impact fees for public services when you are converting agricultural land to large-scale residential development. So we'll be back with that, yes, that's a given. But after the VACO meeting, we'll come back. Anybody else going with me to the VACO? You're going, aren't you?
We're going, so it's, yourself, Jim Smith, and I will be
Okay.
going.
Nobody else wants to go?
When is it?
What date is that? I gotta
Is
look
it
at it.
sixth or something? Is that
One
right?
second.
Over here in Greene County, right?
It is in green.
June, yeah.
Right off Advance Mills Road, I believe.
Yeah, I had a conflict.
And where's it at?
It's in Green
Off of
County.
Advance.
Oh, I can do that.
I don't know, my calendar is
It's on the
dancing.
17th.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a one-day thing, right?
What date is it, Kim? All right. I'm sorry, my calendar's over here like
That's all right.
dancing, so I'm trying to. I've never seen it do that before.
Now, those meetings tend to be a little bit topsy-turvy, but that is a good organization. I mean, it's a critical organization, and they do such a good job.
So you're saying that's on the 17th
That's on the 17th.
in Green?
Green.
Yes, I have it as 2 to 4 p.m., 743 Welsh Run Road, wherever that's at. I have to look it up.
It's right off of Advance Mills Road.
Okay, thank you.
And the more involved we get with VACO, the more they're gonna listen to us. So I think we ought to, this is definitely worth pursuing.
Yeah, I've only seen it happen one time where the state gave, well, that was last year, I think. The state gave us a hunk of money and said, this is for a 2% bonus, blah, 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 and then they said, so you distribute it how you want, you don't have to give everybody, you can do
Right.
1% to everybody, but, so it has been done.
Yeah, they did
In
it with
that
the
fashion.
schools last year, and this
Schools,
year they
yeah.
wouldn't let them do it.
Correct. That's right.
And each locality does it different, and I'm not calling on Mr. Jackson, that's up to you if you do that, but we had some conversation. I know he may be looking to do a story, but each locality seems to have a different approach, Some may not take the money, some may just give it to that constitutional employee. And I always feel like it causes a rift, because
Sure it does.
deputy is a deputy, or just like SOQ teachers, a teacher is a teacher, so.
Sure.
If you don't, yeah,
They didn't
choose
take
not.
it, right?
Because they'd have to come up with money for the other.
And I-
They'd have to come up with money for the
Well,
other.
what Rappahannock said was, we've already given you one in fiscal year '26. Now you want two in fiscal year '26.
And,
So they ditched.
and the questions I would want to ask our legislators when we're
Yeah, how's
talking
that
with
play?
them is there any implication of that? Meaning, if
Right.
you don't take that money, are they going to cut some funding the following year? You hope not, you just never know.
And you almost, with the way that inflation is in our salaries structure, you almost can't turn it down. But again, they could do a better job. That's their prerogative. They need to be fair about it with everybody. Of course, that's like talking to the wall right there. What am I saying?
Yeah.
And we couldn't split that up, so if they give you a certain amount
They
of
should allow us
chunk
to
of
do
money for the
that.
constitutional officers or people, you couldn't take that and split it up so everybody got it?
It's all on the wording. That one year that Ms. Yao spoke of, there was language there to allow that. There's not language in there for it this year.
Majority of the time it's not,
Right.
but once it was.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate.
I think we have good relationship with Bryce Reeves and with Karen, and I think we need to use that to our advantage.
And they're very responsive to us.
Yeah.
Always. You contact them, they get right back to you. They're very helpful. So just, we need to continue to cultivate that relationship.
Okay, so you two gonna work it out, who goes? Who wants, okay, all right.
We need to, yeah. So, and did I hear Ms. Sharman?
Yeah,
All right, Kim will reach out tomorrow, and we will confirm, Ms. Sharman, once we have to RSVP. So once they confirm that, we will be in touch with you.
All right, thank you.
And Mr. Wright, there's no way we could have, or it's not advisable to have three of us attend that VACO meeting.
I'm planning on going anyway, so go ahead and do it.
Well, now that we have,
keep an eye on them.
Now the press is there.
So I think we're probably gonna be in the discussion part of this, right? As I would guess, it's not just gonna be in receive mode. We could do three, I think we just need to call it a special meeting.
How'd we do it when we went to Richmond? We had four.
we had a meeting.
And when you did the.
And y'all set
going through the
separately
schools,
for
y'all did
lunch,
that
and
too.
you
meetings.
met separately
Yeah.
with each delegation, and
Just meet here and gavel in.
Because I don't want to discourage any supervisor from attending. The more of us that are there, the better voice we have.
so is the
Right.
goal,
Mr. Chairman, I guess that's okay with you, right?
Yeah, that's fine. Mike, did you wanna go then if
What
we
was
wanna
that
do
date
this?
again?
17.
Wednesday, the 17th, 2 to 4 p.m.?
Can I get back on this?
Okay, well, we've got three that wanna go,
Yeah,
so
it's 2 to
let's
4.
set up the special meeting then and do it that way.
Judd said he can go if it's 2 to 4, right?
all right, so I'm hearing Mr. Buchanan, Ms. Sharman, and Mr. Snyder.
No, sir, I've got a Rappahannock River Basin Commission meeting that same day.
Okay,
So just three.
three, so, are you on or off?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm out.
All right, so what we'll do, Mr. Buchanan, Ms. Sharman, Kim will reach out tomorrow. Even if the date's passed, it may not mean anything. We'll make sure that we can get you confirmed, and we will reach out and let you know.
Is
And
this,
then, and then we'll do the special meeting.
is this meeting open to the public?
That's a good question. I'll have to call and find out. My recommendation
The
would
last one
be,
wasn't. The last one I attended in Woodstock was not open to
is
the
generally,
general
it's just
public.
your, because at your VACO, so your annual meeting, you appoint your VACO representative and/or an alternate that can attend meetings and also vote on the county's interest when there are things to vote on. There's not always things to vote on. So that's generally why it tends to not be a public meeting. For that fact, what I would recommend, and ring me in, Mr. Wright, if I'm wrong, I would say gavel in here. We need to set the time and then travel there. We'll have to keep notes of, very detailed notes if you ask certain things. it does make it a little complicated. I would say gavel in here and then adjourn here because
But if
you don't
it's-
want to interrupt their meeting.
I guess if it's not available to the public, then we're not gonna be able to have a public meeting over there, right? So I think right now, 3 are going? Is that the plan? Okay.
Well, I'm gonna be racing back from Northern Virginia, so this is gonna be a problem.
Just, yeah.
Just do the two of them.
Why don't we just do that, Judd?
All right, so I'm hearing 2 folks. We've already got Mr. Jewett, RSVP. We'll check on Ms. Sharman's. We know your availability, make sure we can confirm your attendance, and we will let you know. And we will forego the special meeting.
Okay.
But from that, we will bring back a summary and then see if there's any legislative items you'd like to add. So I'm tracking to set up July and August dates for our elected representatives. Now, for that one, I do have a question. The meetings with our elected officials, are we looking to have that with the EDC? Only attendance members, or are we looking to board
Should
in,
be the
maybe
board.
joint board and EDC? Okay. I just need to know that far as advertisement and, okay.
Well, and I don't want to get it out of hand, but how about the school board? Is it appropriate to have at least school board reps attend that meeting too? I don't know.
It wouldn't hurt. I'll reach out. I mean, really their choice, but we'll make it available. You know, if I'm sitting on the congressman or the delegate or the state senator side, I probably want the larger group because I'm catching all of those items. But, I'll certainly, if there's a preference, you want me to work with the school superintendent or reach out to the school board chair, I'll make that connection and ask. Or I'll just email, I'll email both the superintendent and the board chair and ask them.
You know, I was kind of thinking ahead about that meeting or luncheon or whatever you want to call it. I'm thinking it may be helpful if we could have whatever our major initiatives are, possibly have very short, like 5-minute presentations from the appropriate constituency, whether it's EMS or whatever, just to give it background so that and we'll have written reports too, so that we're not fumbling around trying to explain everything we're trying to do. And maybe even give them that stuff in advance.
Okay? Yes, sir. And I may, just for ease and some input, I'll reach out to Janelle, who's my counterpart in Fauquier, just see what kind of success and how they put that together. Doesn't mean we have to copy them, but if they've had some successes, we certainly could look to duplicate that.
Okay.
You have to watch the last meeting. I got so fussed up, I lost my glasses. I had to buy new glasses. Lost them in the street in Woodstock somewhere. I was mad, I went out like myself.
Back in the 60s.
All right, so
Those last
the
fall.
next item on the agenda, let's see, is the number 6, proposed ordinance amendment for transit occupancy tax. Mr. Weekly?
Thank you, sir. I may have gotten ahead of myself a little earlier in explaining
all right.
but, so I know the objective, and I'm gonna start with section 24-129, which is the levy of the tax. You may recall, we were set at a 5% cap. 2% of that, was going to the county, the other 3 would go into the TOT fund. The board, during budget time, decided they wanted to increase that. They took action and increased it by 1%. We went back and reviewed state statute or state code, as well as looked at some of the adjoining counties of what they were doing and how they drafted their ordinance. I do want to point out that the state code does allow you to tax above the 5%. It does recognize that anything in excess of the 5%, the county could use as what they call general revenue. Now, you determine how that general revenue is accounted for, meaning do you want it just to go to general fund, or do you want it to go to specific things? Normally it goes to the general fund if you want to appropriate it, however you can do that. And we use Greene County and Page County as a sample just to kind of see, all right, can we clean this up? Some of them were a little vague. Mr. Wright and I will look through this, and I'm going to ask him to give his thoughts. But as much as I would like to simplify it, I think you're almost kind of forced to put some of those percentages in there. Again, you just don't know who may be administering this in the future, and you want to make it as clear as possible, because we're not only having this for the board's understanding, the general public, but also part of the state statute requires you to get input from, I think they call it the Tourism Advisory Council. We have a TOC committee. I did have Ms. Gardner references to the TOC committee and got their feedback. She will provide that email. I think she's already done that, and we're going to put that in for your actual public hearing that you have on this, because that satisfies that state statute. So this does reflect the change from the 5%. It explains the new rate of 6% and how that is assigned, because there is a split between what goes to the county coffers as well as the TOD fund. The second change, if you may, and there's some definitions in there as you see in red as well. The second change is what I referenced that the commissioner would like to see, which is section 24-131, paragraph B. You can see what is struck through versus what's being proposed. Again, you have a one-pager, although it's front and back. I asked the commissioner to put together some talking points and put it in ease form of what the current framework is and what the proposed framework attempts to do or needs to do. So some of this is getting updated with the code, but he wanted to point out that there was this monthly remittance payment we would allow to stay. It's $100 per month with those who had the short-term rentals. Kind of think of it as an administration fee. If you write, there was a lot of remittance work involved. Mr. Daniel feels like now through the reporting requirements of the state and how VRBO and Airbnb, some of these intermediates as they're referred to, then it's less hassle involved for that reporting. Therefore, do not allow that $100 to stay as part of that remittance payment. So because section 131 was not advertised, again, we did not anticipate this, Mr. Wright and myself, when we were drafting the language for 129. That doesn't mean we did anything wrong. It's just, it makes sense, as Mr. Wright said, let's just pull it and let's put it all together. Because they truly do, it's all one ordinance, different sections, but one ordinance, so.
Chairman, can I ask a question before we go too much farther?
Yes.
So you have that $100 capped at 100, so when I admit or remit mine, it's never $100 because I don't have that many rentals. But it also makes people file on time. You know, so it's an incentive to save $20 or whatever to file on time, so the county might be waiting longer, or the person's got to pay, they're still gonna have to pay a late filing charge?
I'll ask that question, sir. I do not have that. That's a very good question.
So, I mean, it's just, to me, if you want that money faster, the county wants that money in their accounts, you may not want to get rid of that. But maybe Mr. Daniels knows something more than I do as far as how much money that is.
I think,
Did he give you a number?
I think he asked Ms. Murray for it. And I'll see if I can find it.
I'm seeing if you put it on the back of the, I've made a note here, Mr. Buchanan, to ask him, and I definitely want to get that answer in advance of the public hearing, so you'll know that. Mr. Daniel, it's my understanding, will be here. I think he's planning to be here for the public hearing. We'll have to talk about the date here in a minute for scheduling that. But I'll get the answer to your question if Hannon doesn't see it in his email. Hannon, is there anything specific in either section 129, which is the tax levy, or section 131, which deals with the remittance you'd like to add, sir, or clarify?
The definition additions were just to try to make it match for state code. That was at the request of Mr. Daniel. I mean, the big ones are the percentage change, and then it takes away the up to $100 remittance. Those were the two, I'll say, big ticket items as far as the transient occupancy tax. Most of the rest stayed the same.
All right, so we want to see if
And
that's a material amount of money.
Yeah, or
Or,
by filing on time or before, you're actually getting that money to your nonprofit quicker, if that makes a difference.
all right,
And then if not, is there a late charge is what okay.
Because I think it's still due the 20th of every month.
There's a section on that. Let me pull that up.
so you get your what?
Got a little discount. It's Scott in it.
Mittens.
Section
20th,
24-167,
Says
it's
before
due by the
20th.
20th of each month. So I will ask the commissioner the question and get a
What
response.
section were you looking at, Jonathan? 'Cause-
Section 24-167.
Yeah, I'm
He
looking
means
at,
24-131.
you're right. That's what I'm
Right,
looking
but
at.
you're talking about the remittance.
Reports. Such
Shall be
reports
due to
and
every
remittance
person
shall be made
required by
on or
this article to
before
pay the
the
tax
20th.
due by the 20th of each month.
Yeah. And then it's, I guess
It's also in
Repeats it.
131.
it is.
All right, so I need to, yeah, okay.
At least they agree.
That's right.
Yeah.
Got that going for us.
It's a relief.
Okay. All right,
So you can see why we appreciate the simplification of ordinances that you all would like to see.
So as it looks, in order to get this advertised and questions answered, it'd probably be the second, meeting in June.
Yes, sir.
Ought to
June
make this work.
23rd, Ms. Turner has looked at the advertisement requirements, and again, due to being able to ask some of these very good questions, to meet the advertisement requirements, staff is recommending June 23rd, 2026, which by doing so, you would still be compliant to have things effective for July 1st.
And following up on it, I think I found it, from Mr. Daniel, was that it's been around $6,000, he says, the monthly commission to the provider maxing out at $100. So I'm assuming that means $6,000 a month would be the remittance amount that has been paid out.
Wow. Yeah, let's find out, is that a month or, that's the discount that people have claimed.
Right.
Right.
Correct.
Just confirm, you think it's a month?
I will, but
Okay. All right,
I'll get an answer on that.
all right, thanks. Okay, anything further on that, Mr. Weekly?
Just as long as you're in agreement with setting the public hearing for June 23rd, we will do that. Of course,
Okay.
that meeting starts at 6 PM, so if you're fine with that,
Well-
we will go ahead and get the advertisement out there.
Yeah,
And work
okay
on
with
getting
everybody?
answers to those questions in advance.
All right. So under information and correspondence, we got Next Era Energy and Dominion Energy merger.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. We were notified by our outreach point of contact Dominion of the merger. And of course, there's been press release of it. Actually, there is a story I read today in the Madison Eagle about this, has a lot of information. Now, I say Madison Eagle, I think it was written by a Richmond correspondent. You can also go to, Kim has it on the screen, or she has the link. I spoke with Felix, my point of contact with Dominion today, to try to understand a little more, what does this merger mean? Mr. Joy, you had some good questions at our agenda review. I was told Dominion Energy is one company. Certainly, they will have, I guess you could say, divisions of that one company, such as Dominion Generation and Dominion Energy, but they are one company. But they have some good FAQs that Felix pointed me to. So the hyperlink Ms. Turner has on the screen, it's dominionenergy.com/updates/mergers. Overall, and again, you can read that article in the Madison Eagle, or you get a lot of the information here under the FAQs, and there's some bullet points. They expect, because this merger they'll be one of the largest companies, electric utility companies at that time. It improves, according to the article, it improved their bond rating. So Moody actually increased them. I think it's from a 2A2 to a 2A1. I guess that's better, right? One sounds better being at the top. They have a lot of infrastructure that they'll need to fund in the future. So combining these two companies help them to do that. There'll be some payout to stakeholders over the next few years. Bullet point 3, I'm sitting there thinking, charitable giving is great, but sure, it'd be nice for that to come back to utility bills. So they didn't expect any negative effect, whether their relationships with REC or overall ratepayers in Virginia. They're saying all good things. So we hope that be the case. They're going to have 2 headquarters. They will maintain their headquarters in Richmond, and they will keep their Florida location, which is currently the next air location. So if you have any additional questions between now and this merger is anywhere between 12 months to 18 months, please send them my way, and I'll be happy to reach out to my point of contact to get those answers. But again, I would push folks towards this webpage. We can put this as a news alert on our webpage if you wish. We have very limited Dominion customers in the county. It's to my knowledge that Woodbury Forest is the only customer. I don't know if there are any, I don't know if Madison Mills falls into that, but I do know Woodbury Forest campuses. But that's their proximity to Orange County is why I believe that occurred. So, which is good for them. We want Woodbury Forest to have some good benefit, but that is what I learned today in my conversation. So it's more of an announcement of that merger. Again, 12 to 18 months. There's several folks. I mean, FERC, NRC, the Virginia SCC. There's some regulatory body in North Carolina. There are many bodies that have to sign off on this before it would actually become effective. But I'm not hearing anybody saying that, nope, there's a hurdle, they're not going to get past it. My assumption is in 12 to 18 months, this will be done.
Well, it might, the Rappahannock, the river basin thing, I mean, they deal with water and stuff mainly, but Eldon is there, so you might ask anybody there, anybody got any opinion about this?
It might be on the agenda. We
VACO
haven't
thing
gotten
too,
to the agenda
perhaps,
yet, but-
Yeah. And I encourage you to go, to this website and learn a bit. Again, the Eagle, we have a copy here if you want to read the article. It was very detailed,
Okay,
what their initiatives are.
all right. Then number 8, I guess, VACO Region 6 and 7 meeting.
We kind of touched on
talked
that. It
about
was just a
that, but-
reminder
Yeah.
of the upcoming meeting. Again, if there's anything specific, although I hear we have 2 members of the board going, that does not disclude the voice or thought of other members. So if you have any legislative priorities you can think of between now and June 17th, please let us know. We'll be happy to carry those forward.
Okay. VDOT intersection safety update.
I think we had some fun last Friday, right? I don't know, define fun, right? Supervisors Jewett and Sharman and myself, we were joined by Ms. Shepherd, our residency engineer, and Mr. Shiflett out of Greene County. I forget his title. He's in with the program. Madison County is somewhat unique, depending on part of the county. I know when you were looking at the culvert at Locust Dale, that was Louisa. So sometimes we're handled by different headquarters within our district. We did ride out and look at 3 safety, intersection improvements, I think is the best way to call it. We reviewed Hoover Road and Arrington Mountain, which is awful. We reviewed Hoover Road, West Hoover Road, and actually, I want to clarify that, West Hoover Road in both ends of Novum Church Road, as well as the intersection of Hoover Road and Ridgeview. Ms. Shepherd said that she would go back and they would have a safety review upon the recommendation of Supervisors Sharman and Jewett. I will, and again, we took this tour on Friday, so I will make contact with landowners because VDOT did mention that they're not sure if they have existing right-of-ways. So if there were some improvements they need to make, that contact would have to be made with homeowners. A lot of times there's advantage for the locals to knock those doors or make those calls to start that conversation. So I'm willing to do that to really get these safety improvements. The intersection of Novum Church Road with, I don't think it's Arrington Mountain, I think it turns into Novum Road. There is what is known or used to be called the community center. There's a building that sits right there on the corner, and across the street from it at the intersection of Novum and Parish Road, there's a mirror, and I can see why someone put that mirror there, so you can safely try to see what's coming around that curve before you pull out to head towards Novum Road, actually towards the Culpeper County direction, so.
Mike Sharman put it there.
Did it? Okay, all right.
All right.
He didn't ask for credit, but definitely credit should be recognized. So VDOT wouldn't be involved. The only time really they deal with structures and taking those down, I'll give you the example. Pratt's in the Fairground Road area, Orange Road, if they're doing property acquisition, part of that smart scale project where the roundabout will go, they will most likely obviously take down those structures. And something like this, VDOT wouldn't necessarily take down a building. But anyway, I'm gonna make contact with those landowners to see what we can do. So hopefully if Kerry comes back and says, we think we can do these things, but we need right-of-ways, and we'll have already lined up if the property owners are willing or not willing to participate in that. Also, Mr. Jewett, I'm trying to remember, I know both Supervisor and I came back and we had some discussion after the ride-alongs with those VDOT reps. What was determined with the segment of Novum Church Road? I wasn't sure there was much they could do with that one approach around the curve. Do you recall on that, sir?
They've actually, according to Mr. Shiflett, they have been called out to look at that multiple times. And according to him, there's no effective remediation that they can do with regard to preventing the road from washing unless the section of the road was paved. And even then, he told me that you would probably have wash problems with that. And, but right now, there's nothing that they recommend doing to that road unless, you want to try to put it for paving later on. And just to kind of go back to what you said, my understanding is that, VDOT is going to check to see what right-of-ways they actually have on those roads, what they can do to improve visibility. And on our end, we were going to contact landowners that are adjacent to those intersections to see if they'd be willing to permit VDOT access onto their property to make improvements to visibility. And they stress that there is no eminent domain power here. VDOT can, or the county can't go to these landowners and say, you will give us more right-of-way to clear that. So it has to be entirely voluntary, and that's why, Mr. Weekly and then Ms. Sharman and myself have volunteered even to go talk to folks. We might get run out, but that's the only way that we can improve. Some of those intersections, as you know, they're death traps. And one thing I forgot, I don't know how we all forgot this, but we didn't talk about speed studies on those approaches. So that might be something you want to follow up with VDOT on. Do they feel like they could justify authorizing speed studies? Is that, because I was like, when I got home, I'm like, why didn't we mention that? We've been talking about that for years. And that might be one mitigation strategy that we can do.
Right. I gave the example to Ms. Shepherd, because even though it may be a different district, they talk amongst the state and they're aware of projects. And I felt like, let's say we run into a right-of-way hurdle at Arrington Mountain and Hoover Road. Hopefully we don't. If we're, I use the Vent Hill model. So on 29 northbound going through Fauquier County, I don't remember if you switch over to Prince William or not entering Gainesville. But Vent Hill was an old, I think an Army base years ago. Terrible accidents all the time. You had a blind hill, you're coming up to a light. What did they eventually do? Now, it took a lot of accidents, a lot of fatalities. They took the hill out. So I believe that's one intersection, not saying the other two are not important. In my opinion, I think we should have some options because there's precedents already there. Now, one's a major 4-lane highway, I get it, but safety's safety, right? So hopefully we can get landowners to work in our favor and they're willing to do something. But that particular intersection, in my opinion, is blind both ways. I think you may remember when I pulled out, I said, all right, I'm gonna roll your window down so you can listen, so I can safely pull out, because you're really out in the lane before you can check directions. Very unsafe, but just wanted to report to the full board. I know Supervisors Sharman and Jewett were a part of that, so I wanted the whole board to hear that. Also, lastly, and I included you all in the update as a copy, but directly to Chairman Yao, Ms. Shepherd did provide a response today for Mr. Ayler's inquiry of a pedestrian improvement along 29 and Maple Drive. It seems to be that cannot take place, but you have that reason in your inbox.
Yeah. And there's a number of reasons there, so I get it, and I figured that's the way it was gonna play out. So, all right, anything further on VDOT? Okay, so number 10, we added board reports. Judd, you had something?
I'll try to make this fast, and Mr. Jackson, you can add to it as you wish. He was there as well. I came in on a Zoom, so I may have missed a few things because of the audio. But the Superintendent Tracy talked about what's going on up in the park, and there's a new concession contract, so where they have, you know, the campgrounds and the food and all that. There's only 3 or 4 concession companies around the country in these national parks that can do this kind of work. So new ones coming in, but they don't anticipate any type of disruption because they usually hire the existing people from the old contract to keep going. So that's going, that transition's underway. Park is fully staffed, so they're doing fine there. Attendance was down beginning of the season, but it has rebounded, he said. And the probably one of the biggest things, Upper Old Rag parking lot is being fixed and will be done late summer, so that's causing some disruption in the parking for Old Rag, which is their most popular hike in the Shenandoahs. What I found interesting is they had a woman come in that was doing a presentation on light pollution. And it was interesting. She talked about the effect of light pollution on wildlife, whether it's salamanders, turtles, birds that are flying, you know, doing their migration. Just a lot of different things that light pollution causes havoc with. And it's the surrounding counties around the park, some of them have more light pollution, some of them have less. We are standing at, on the Berthold dark sky scale, we're at between 3 and 4. So 3 being agriculture, rural, 4 being on the edge of suburbia. So we're actually a pretty good place for stargazing. The best place really is up in Syria in that area, because you're up against the mountains, so you don't have any of that dome from Charlottesville or Culpeper that some people get in the county. But there's so much money there to be made if you can be registered as International Dark Sky Parks. There's certain things, there's 5 things you have to do to do that. But just for example, like Highland County is registered as a dark sky park, and they're at a number 1 on the Bertle scale. We're at 3-4, which is good. 3-4 means you can see the Milky Way on a normal starry night. So I know like some of our wineries in the area, they bring in astronomers and they have big events, and I'd like to see more of that. I'd like to see less light pollution. We do not have I'm not a big person on regulations, but there should be maybe some type of regulation that makes our builders face the lights down. So that's the biggest thing. So like I said, Rappahannock and Highland counties both are on that one scale, and they both are international dark sky parks. And so that can bring in millions of dollars of revenue in just our county areas if we could do something like that. Increases traffic on off-peak times, like the winter times, when the stars are, especially you can see them, by 30 to 40%. So it's bringing in 30 to 40% more tourism dollars coming into the county if we can get that type of dedication to having a certification like that. So to promote astro-tourism, I think, is one way for our committee to try to bring in more business and more tax dollars. So I think this is something we should look at a little bit deeper. And, the other thing that I forgot to mention, and you can thank Mr. Jackson, he mentioned that we got the community theater. We're starting that process to try to get a community theater in Madison. So thank you, Mr. Jackson, for bringing that up.
All right, anybody else with the report? Did you have something, Nancy?
Oh, no,
Okay.
we just run into budget stuff everywhere I go. But anyway, I did want to say about, on July 2nd for the 250, we have got RSVPs from Bryce and from Karen so far.
Good.
So those are confirmed. Not yet,
Oh, okay.
not yet.
We had to put, did they finally confirm? We had to put in, sometimes there are request forms and things, so, Ms. Turner, you said he did confirm?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're just waiting to finalize the schedule. Once it's finalized, we can send it to
Oh, Mr. Bennett did. Oh, so we do have all
okay.
three.
So, what we'll need to make sure, because it's one thing to recognize, but I don't like to put people on the spot, so we're checking to see. I know Delegate Hamilton would like to see some remarks. Of course, hopefully in June, because they didn't do anything in April, not her, just the General Assembly. That resolution has not been passed, so we're hoping in June, that's what she anticipate when they do the budget. And they're in session, they'll introduce and get that passed. So we'll see who wants to speak and not. We're, at a minimum, we're gonna recognize, just like we would with, any of you as our local our officials. So we'll see who wants to speak or not speak, so we can put them in our program accordingly.
Okay. Okay, if nothing further, then we'll go to our second public comment. What you got? Yeah? All right,
Got some from Mitch Dickey. He said I would ask that all school board members be invited to the luncheon with our representatives.
uh-huh,
And then Mitch Dickey again says all school board members would like to at least be invited to attend any meetup with our legislators. And that's it.
okay. Well, good, I'm glad he was listening, and let's see, we're gonna, yeah, I guess we would contact the board, the school board chair then?
My plan was to reach out to the superintendent and the board chair.
Yeah,
Because generally, they take a responsibility on to notify their whole board, so it's not me excluding them. It's just like if the school was gonna request, a lot of times they would reach out to the chair and administrator.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why we do it that way. Certainly,
Yeah.
we'll put it out there as all are welcome.
Yeah, okay. All right, very good. So, with no other public comment, then we'll close the public comment period. We have no closed session. With nothing further, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Second. So I have a motion and a second to adjourn. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. We are adjourned.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks.